forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. I'm here with Emily and Anna. Egg. I don't know the whole thing of why egg.
Do you want to get into it?
It's a very short answer.
It's a very short answer. There is no reason apart from we wanted to have a name that didn't have anything to do with the fact that we were two women.
Yeah.
And then, of course, every show we've ever done, people have gone, is it about fertility?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Is it about fertility?
But you were thinking about eggs in terms of scrambled, boiled.
Just like,
We hadn't even got that far.
yeah,
just egg, just a short,
funny short word.
one-syllable word.
We
which has
needed a
no
word.
Google juice at all.
No, you Google egg. You don't find us.
Impossible.
What's Google juice?
As in, you don't,
Keyword power.
you get no hits.
I've fallen into the generation gap.
That's right, guys.
Again.
Google juice.
Google juice. So you've got Google juice.
Have I? What does that mean?
Well, if you type in Rob Brydon,
Yeah.
you're not going to get a picture of an egg, are you?
Yeah, you're not going to get 12
Unlikely.
healthy breakfasts.
Okay, so I've got Google juice.
Of course you do.
But if you just put in Rob, if you just called yourself Rob,
no.
you'd be lost in the
Oh,
melee.
yeah, of course I would. I make no claims to being the biggest Rob.
And we're not the biggest eggs either.
And I don't think you're ever, no matter how well it goes, I hate to say this to you,
That's true.
I think the old hen's egg is always going to trump you.
Yeah.
Sorry to bring him into it. It's lovely to meet you both. So how did it all begin? How did you find each other? How did it start? I know improv was, which is again we have in common, but
Yeah.
how did it begin?
Well, years and years ago now, more than 10 years ago, I started an improv group. One of the other members dragged Emily along
Yep.
to play.
For a rehearsal. And I had a great time. A lovely time. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a call from Anna saying, "Are you coming to the show?" And I was like, "Oh, am I in? Oh, I didn't realise. I just thought I was coming to play." And then, we started improvising together in Anna's group. So
And then every year in Edinburgh, we'd get drunk, and then we'd go, he's so funny. We should do something. And then we were very lazy and we wouldn't do it. And then finally,
years later,
when someone else that we'd sort of said the same thing to had gotten tired of waiting
for us to write some sketches.
and had gone off and created another sketch group, we were like, we should probably do that. So that was 2016.
How long before you got some traction
As egg.
as egg?
Well, what is it?
Because
what's
alongside
traction?
this, then let's tell people you're jobbing actors.
Yeah.
We talked before while we were waiting for Anna. We talked about Motherland,
We did.
incredible show,
Mm.
and the one last I saw. I mean, I haven't seen, but I saw on the list Last Tango in
Yeah, Last
Halifax.
Tango in
That
Halifax.
must have been a lovely show to be in.
It was.
Spend time with Derek Jacobi, Anne
Yeah.
Reid.
Well, I got to actually more spend time with Tony Gardner and Ronnie Ancona.
Not as enjoyable, but there we are.
But they are absolute legends. So
It's not Anne Reid and
you're
Derek
right. It was a
Jacobi, is it?
disappointment.
Did Ronnie Ancona narrate the Teletubbies? I don't think so.
She did not. Yeah.
Hello, Ronnie. Someone will tell her. She will listen. Hello, Ronnie.
I love you, Ronnie.
I didn't say that. I said, hello, Ronnie. So you're jobbing actors, but at the same time, while that is, I'm going to Jeff Goldblum, at the same time, you're forming Egg.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I don't want to speak for you, Em, but I will.
Why not?
You
You're the
must.
boss.
I'm
You
toughened.
formed it.
So,
Not egg. That was, come on.
Yeah,
That's collaborative.
Well,
You can't
Yeah,
have that
but it
one,
would
Tuppence.
never have happened if Anna hadn't had the foresight and the
It's true.
ambition. Look, Emily, employee.
Employee of the year. Yeah.
Every year.
Employer of the year.
So when are you getting to the point where people going, oh yeah, they're good.
Well, I think the reason we sort of got into even improv and comedy, you can probably relate to this, is like there wasn't another way in. We're both mixed race women. It was hard to find a niche, a space as an actor, as a jobbing actor. When we first started on the scene, I certainly was very naive as a
Oh, yeah.
Londoner. And I was like, everyone's going to want to hire me because this is what people look like. And then they were like, no.
I grew up in Nottingham, but it wasn't a very diverse area at all. And I didn't know any other mixed race Indian girls. So same.
Well,
I came down to
I've been
London being like,
I've been Nottingham.
I'm not saying Nottingham's not diverse, but where I lived.
Where you were. Wow.
Was really white, and then I came to London being like, look at me, gap in the market, and I'd go to an audition and be like, oh, there are so many other mixed race Indian women. Okay, didn't know. I had no idea. Isn't that
for
mad?
me, it was lots of, we'd like you to sort of light some incense and look very sort of mystical.
No.
Yeah.
Or
No.
Yeah, or you're like a sex worker who also works in a law. It was that bad.
I'm everybody's doctor.
It was
in
that
the start of my
bad. Yeah,
industry.
we didn't get the doctors.
You played a lot of
Doctor,
doctors.
vet,
Yeah.
nurse.
Yeah.
And I did have a joke a while ago that at the start of my career, my show reel looked like I was in one long-running series, medical series, with lots of celebrity cameos. So I was just in scrubs, in different sets of scrubs for the whole time.
Yeah.
Not knocking it. It paid my bills. So
Or one of those videos they send you if you're having a relatively risky procedure the next day in a hospital. They send you, probably not aware of these things at your age, but they send you a video to watch, to talk you through the
this
procedure.
is what's going to happen.
Years ago, when I was just a jobbing voice actor, sort of in the 90s. One of the jobs, before
podcast hosts.
Before this, take a look around you. I was the voice of the video that you would have had to watch if you were having a colonoscopy the next day.
When you said
so soothing.
When you said video, honestly, that's the first procedure that popped into my mind before you said that you'd done the voice for it.
What did you think?
When you said they send you a video, and I was like, probably a colonoscopy.
Yeah. Rob's got the
They
voice
put the
of colonoscopy.
Well, and I just say things
Just
like
giving such
at this point,
colonoscopy vibe.
At this point, you may find that you pass wind. This is perfectly normal.
And you've had to say that catchphrase so many times over the years, haven't you? Just non-stop.
You know what's going through my mind now? Let's edit that bit out of the podcast because I could use that on stage.
There you go. You're welcome.
Do I get a writing credit?
No. No.
I looked directly down the camera then as if that would help me get a writing credit.
He's the toughest.
That genuinely went through my mind. I went, I could use that. That would fit really well for me.
You can have that. You can have that.
Just remember us when you do it on stage, and it's absolutely smashing.
So I say, and of course, I often find myself saying that. Yeah, but I'm married in my late 50s. I mean, I think when you've been with someone for a long time, you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't still say, you may find with what I'm about to do, you may find you pass wind. This is perfectly normal.
This is perfect. I feel like there's lots of people who would have watched that video that still, when they have a really, a nasty trump, that they just think, they just hear you in the back of their mind going, this is perfectly normal.
I want to know, because watching your sketches, I've seen the ones from the Harry Hill Clubnite, and really interesting because you've got sort of two different things. There's the toilet cubicle one with the toilet paper. That's a great idea. That's one of those ideas where you go, oh, why has nobody thought of this?
No, thanks.
Oh, we should do it again.
Yeah.
And for people who don't know, there may be one or two. Explain that sketch. So there's a lovely economy to that sketch.
Well, it's long been said that women go to the toilet in pairs.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's a kind of explanation as to why.
Why it's taking so long.
Why, yeah.
Why is it taking so long?
So one...
And what happens to all the loo roll, basically?
Yeah.
So... people will be going on YouTube. They'll go to YouTube.
Yeah, they'll put in egg.
He's got great Google juice.
They'll have
egg
so much
toilet sketch.
Yeah,
do you think we get it then?
Harry Hill egg toilet sketch.
Oh, you put Harry Hill.
You have to put.
That man is dripping in Google juice. If you put Harry Hill in, you're not getting landmarks.
No, that's true.
You're not. You're
not getting frittatas.
He was very lovely to us as well. Very lovely.
He's a nice man.
What a guy. Yeah.
Who are the influences then?
We were doing a podcast the other day, and we were talking about.
You've done other podcasts.
Yeah,
it was actually our
podcast.
Oh, that's okay.
The other day, and we were talking about musical influences, and I thought, when I was younger, actually, I was just watching female duos, and not in music. I was watching French and Saunders. I was watching Ab Fab. It was all comedy, and then I looked at it and I was like, mine were what we do.
Yeah, your fandom was really comedy.
Yeah, it was Julie Walters, it was Victoria Wood, it was Dawn French, it was Jennifer Saunders, and then it was the League of Gentlemen. Brought that surreal element
yes.
in. They're always, I don't know if I think they have to influence our comedy because that's what I grew up watching. And Goodness Gracious Me as well was so important for me.
Yeah.
So that always just comes into the work.
Oh, the first thing that pops into my head is Green Wing.
Oh.
Because it was also it was basically sketches.
Yeah, it was,
you know,
yeah.
and I loved I don't think I realized it at the time, but I loved the sketch nature of that show. But yeah, I think there were loads of like,
You say that, and
disparate-
yet you've only offered Green Wing.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. I'm feeling the pressure because
Do you
it's
remember my
been such
answers
a
where I was
build.
just-
You were good.
I was straight in
You
there.
were good. French
Yeah,
and
it's
Saunders.
Yeah.
Julie Walters.
I
Victoria
think
Wood. It was good. It was
Mine
good.
weren't so many like there were more TV shows. So
Well, name
like,
some of them.
Spaced,
Oh.
Simon Pegg,
Smack the
Jessica-
Pony. We both
Smack
like
the
Smack the
Pony.
Smack the Pony.
Of course.
I always get like this. If anyone asks me, like, what would you like for dinner? I'm like, new.
Green Wing, Steve Mangan,
Yeah.
one of his first ever TV roles given to him by me and Julia Davis in a series we did called Human
I
Remains.
love
Human Remains.
Let's talk about that for a while.
Well, I was
That's
gonna
really
say
influenced
Julia-
our
I mean,
work.
What did you like
Julia
about it?
Davis
You don't have to
amazing.
spend so much on Julia, but what did you think of the series?
I thought Julia was so...
Yeah, she's just such an
Natural.
inspiration for women.
It makes
in
everyone around her look
comedy.
good.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
matter what they're bringing, she kind of elevates them. And I think that's such a skill that not everyone in that series had. We really love that.
Yeah.
We love,
Yeah.
love it.
And Julie
Big
and
fan.
I'd
Julie.
love it if we could, because you must say Rob at some other points in the interview.
My stepdad's
If we
called Rob.
could-
I'll probably mention him.
Well, you'll be talking about him, won't you? If we could
Of all the
somehow
Robs.
dub with your own words
Yeah.
and turn she to he,
Yeah.
so your lips are going, but you're saying Rob.
Whenever I see Rob,
And it'll be in your voice.
Not
just
my
every now and
voice,
then.
not
Rob
yours.
Brydon.
Yeah. But I'll just try and make my voice say, Rob. Rob.
I'd love it if you could
He.
do us. Love it.
I could see French and Saunders. I could see a clear line. And you're happy for people to say they can see influence because I see everybody's influence in
yeah.
everybody.
If that's
I mean,
the influence they
yeah.
see, then absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, what you had, I think, is the warmth of French and
Oh,
Saunders.
that's nice.
And I think that's quite a very important quality to possess.
We've definitely had, in the journey of making various live shows and working together for a long time, it's the dynamic so often being, for a sketch duo is often like the straight guy and
Yeah.
the funny guy or the
It doesn't have to be a man.
the
Come
straight
on,
gal.
Anna. Come on,
Get with
Anna.
the times.
Please.
Anna
23. Come
God's
on. Those days are gone. I get so uncomfortable,
You're
when
right. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry if I've made you feel unsafe in this space.
I'd like to file a complaint with HR.
I just felt really,
Did you?
yeah.
Just something deep inside.
Yeah. She does that.
Well, yeah, I do.
It's the power.
I think there's just often, especially with women, they're pitted against each other, and we
Yeah.
really wanted to find a way of working together, still being funny, still being stupid, but
Both being smart, both being idiots.
yeah,
When you say women are pitted against each other, now what do you mean by that? Because I'm just Mr. Naive but I sometimes hear things like that said,
mhm.
and I go, well, I don't think so in my working environments, in all the things I've been in. It's just, can we all be as funny as we can be? Discuss.
If you watch most comedies, dramas, 5, 6 years ago,
Yes.
Even
Yes.
even that,
Yeah.
the women in a series will usually be at loggerheads.
yeah.
There's so much conflict written, even in sketch. Conflict is funny,
Yeah.
but women just seem to be.
There's a feeling of
Putting
always
each other
there's
down.
not enough room at the table. I think that's a feeling that sort of permeates a lot of female life, which is there's always someone skinnier with bigger boobs who's, that's kind of poured into our head of like,
Look at panel shows for a
you
long
can
time.
be
If you've got a woman,
replaced.
there was only one woman on a panel show.
So
Yeah.
if it's not,
Yeah.
if it's her, then it's not you. I think
Right.
there's that
Well,
feeling.
then you come to that Catherine Ryan thing, don't you, where she said quite famously that she stopped going on a certain show because she felt that if she was on it, there's somebody else, because she was the only one.
That's it,
And
yeah.
that's the progression. That's
And
the
you
growth. There
you
is more room at
feel-
the
Or
table.
was she getting that booking because she's so damn good and
I
reliable?
mean, probably both.
And bang, bang, bang. If you book Catherine, you know she's going to deliver.
Yeah.
But it's such a feeling that is, it's kind of, it's hard to lose that feeling of there is room for one of us and no other. So you look at any of like any reality TV show, it is kind of born out of, like Real Housewifey type things.
Yeah.
It's born out of this idea of like, you keep the women very insecure in their position. They can always be replaced by a better model, whatever model you are choosing to,
Well, room for just one. This certainly, if you look back at, I don't know how far your encyclopedic knowledge of comedy goes, but sort of in my younger days, the big sketch show was not the 9 o'clock news. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
So you got Mel Smith, Griffiths Jones, Rowan Atkinson, and Pamela Stevenson, and Pamela would play all the women's parts.
Yeah.
And if you go back before that, Python, obviously no women. Beyond the Fringe, no women. Even that was the week that was predominantly men, I believe, with one woman. Python had Carol Cleveland, who would play.
But usually just to
Pop in.
facilitate
That's
the men's
right.
jokes,
Yeah.
right? You're there to move on the story.
So that's, and in fact, in my own sort of story, in the sort of late 80s, I got together a comic troupe very much in the mould of Not the 9 o'clock news. I had 3 blokes, and the thought was, well, we better have a girl.
Yeah.
Not we better have 2 girls.
Try being a brown
It
one.
was-
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And sort of famously on comedy lineups, they're like, among female comedians who was like, well, yeah, I can't get on that list because they was like, we've got our girl, we've got the woman.
I've been pulled off a gig. Hi, Emily, can you do next month's stand-up because we've already got a woman and she's Asian?
So, and can you imagine?
Because of course we'll only
you
be
saying
talking
that
about
to
the
you
same
days?
things.
So to which you go, oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I
It's like,
understand.
Let's put a permanent hiatus on me
So-
appearing on that lineup.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's how you get that feeling. You get that feeling of like, we're not together as a, we can't support each other. We're against each other. And that, I think, do you think that permeates a lot of our kind of, TV, the culture that we're absorbing? And we realized in
Push
our first
against
show,
it,
yeah, that I was saying no a lot to Emily. And I was like, I don't like this feeling. And in the writing, a lot of times when people write for us, we're like, oh, you've written us shutting each other down constantly.
Yeah.
And we're much more likely
You
to...
idiot. No.
What?
No.
No, Emily, why?
And we come from improv. That's just not the rule.
I know,
Yeah.
that's
And
just
we'd
what
rather,
occurred
like,
to me. Yeah.
Build it up into something silly than,
Right.
take each other
So
down.
we made sure in our shows the friendship was the thing, the dynamic was the thing, and we're both smart, both idiots.
Yeah.
And,
Right, yes.
The
Yeah.
friendship and the love was really important for us to get across.
Yes.
Because
Well, that's why I say
working
there is a warmth,
Mhm.
which I could see as a direct thing from French and Saunders. But I mean, there was also great warmth, I suppose, with Victoria Wood and Julie Walters. But I would say maybe slightly more so, in my opinion, with French and Saunders. Right. Okay. We've trailed it. We're going to discuss it. Okay. Terribly famous.
That's right.
If you like podcasts from Wondery, and this is one of them, you're going to love Terribly Famous, as Emily and Anna, not necessarily in that order, explore our fascination with modern celebrity. Now, this is very interesting. Tell us about it at the optimum length. So not too short, not too long.
Don't toss it off, is what you're saying.
It is a podcast, yes, that looks at British celebrities.
Anna, in you come.
British celebrities and icons.
Is it important to you that they're British because we've taken back control? Is it part of your whole Brexit ideology?
Well, it's actually.
Oh, you know about that?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you're aware?
Very much. so.
Yeah, I thought you'd
Yeah.
have led with that, but we're only getting to it now.
Well, it's actually the sister podcast of
Even the Rich.
Even the Rich, which is an American podcast that kind of does a similar thing. But
Yeah.
our take on it is that we're not sort of celebrity gossip hounds by any means. And we wanted, by our involvement in the show, to create something where I know that there are times when I want to, I'm like, oh, what did happen with X, Y, Z person? But I don't want to go grubbing around
We don't want what the
in the Daily
tabloid.
Mail.
Yeah, I was going to say Daily Mail. And I was like,
sidebar
oh,
of shame.
the tabloid papers
Yes.
say
Yes.
about them.
Because it really, you can get into a horrible hole of.
So maybe we should say at this stage that to people who don't know that you are telling the stories
Yes.
of celebrated people. The first being Adele,
Yes.
Adele Atkins.
Before fame, towards fame, during, and sometimes beyond.
It's like a podcast
Not for
biopic.
Adele, because she is not beyond fame.
No,
She is
she's-
still very much
Oh, she's still
during.
very
She's
much.
You're
very
not
much
trying to
impressible.
suggest that the bubbles burst.
No, no,
for
no.
Adele.
I said, there's quite a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Beyond, what
Zayn
when they've
Malik.
got to that
We've got
level, how
Zayn
they-
Malik to look forward to.
We've got
Yeah.
Zayn.
We've
yeah,
got
that should
Lily
be out
Allen.
very soon.
Yeah,
Lily
Lily.
Allen's
And I
really
believe
interesting.
Victoriana Beckham.
But yeah, I think that there's, we wanted to sort of humanize and empathize with people. I do think of them sort of as little biopics.
The first season is all. I don't like series.
Yeah.
Mm.
The why have we taken back control if
I-
we can't say
I
series?
agree.
I didn't want to take back control. It's all Adele. She do how many episodes on Adele?
Four. Yeah.
4 and Adele.
And will that be a series? And then it stops, or does the next one then start?
It starts straight after.
yeah.
And then we have a bonus episode where we talk to an expert on
on Adele.
on Adele. or
Sounded like bonus. I was going to go with it, and I stopped. Carry on.
about
Enunciation, Anna. A bonus episode.
Ah!
Enunciation.
Oh,
it's
the
a
coup is
bonus
happening.
episode.
The coup's happening. Yeah, we
which is
just
in the
did-
buff.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
And
we have
in the bonus episode,
Yeah.
you're talking to Jude Rogers, the journalist. So that's interesting. So
Yeah.
the other episodes are a narrative. You're storytelling.
Yeah.
And then, and is this how it's going to be with all of them?
Yeah.
Then the bonus is you talk about the subject.
at the end of every series season,
Nice.
we will talk to an expert on the subject. And it's
Very
not always
nice.
an expert on that particular artist. Sometimes it's...
It would
we
help
just
if it
had a
was, though,
great-
wouldn't it?
just had
Because
a
it'd be
great
odd
one.
if it was an expert in plumbing or something. I mean, what do you
Well,
mean?
there's a lot to learn. You never without
there's a
you're
time and a
never
place,
without
Anna.
a job if you're a plumber.
There's a
Let me
time
tell
and
you
a
that.
place, and
Get
I
a
would
trade.
suggest-
Get a trade, guys.
I would suggest that a podcast series charting Adele's incredible rise to global dominance is no time for you, Benz.
Sometimes it's an expert on the themes that we've talked about. And
Yeah.
if that's
What
plumbing,
would the themes?
so
what would the
be
themes
it.
be then in the Zayn Malik?
Well, fandom.
fandom, which was really interesting, and like
It was so interesting.
yeah. So recommend that episode particularly, but it was so eye opening to see the kind of power that like fangirls. We spoke to the author of a book called Fangirls, and the power of the fangirl, and also how often female fans are sort of dismissed as
Screaming.
screaming
Yes,
fans
yes,
instead of,
yes.
in the way that, for example, football fans are not dismissed, or they're not.
Well, yeah, but
They're
they're
legitimised.
pretty. Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, well,
The
we talked about it at
stereotype
length.
of
It was
the
really
fan,
interesting.
but actually the fan as a powerful
Shareholder.
in the artist's success. So it was really interesting
Mm.
to us. It doesn't look like it was
And you hope
And
to
I hope to
dozens of
everyone.
listeners.
to
Yeah.
tens of listeners. Yeah, no, it's great. I think we really get to, because we're both performers as well, and that we get it. We try to bring a lot of empathy to
Yeah.
it.
That comes across. That
Yeah.
comes
Oh,
across.
good,
There's
I'm glad.
it's quite a now thing, I think. But isn't it funny that on the one hand, it's a very now thing to try and have this empathy, and yet at the same time, we've never been less empathetic and less binary. This is
Yeah.
not the platform for that discussion, but it occurred to me as I
Yeah.
was listening to terribly famous.
Well, that's a very profound thought to have been
I'm a
having
profound
while
guy.
we-
So the podcast then, is that sort of a, oh no, your publicist won't like this. I was going to say, is that a side thing? While there's, no, it's not. It's front and centre. But the main thing, obviously, is sketch. So where do you want to be with the double act? And how did the acting careers? Because God forbid one of you should get a big, meaty... Oh, hang on a minute. Emily is gesturing to Anna.
Well,
What have you landed, sister?
well, Anna's filmed.
Let Anna speak for herself,
she's
Emily.
done the big job. Let me at least talk about it. No, go on then.
Well, yeah, I'm in a show called Shadow and Bone. Don't think it might not be up your street, Rob. It's,
okay. Let's hear why.
Well, it's a young adult fantasy show.
It's not up my street.
It was just a punt. It's quite far from Last Tango in Halifax, but it's got a big fandom because it's based on books and it's there's a whole kind of world of
How
of
many
fans out
Shadows
there.
and Bones have there been thus far?
There's been 2 seasons /
Series.
series, but there are several
Who makes
books.
this?
Netflix.
It goes out on. I've heard of the Netflix. It goes out on the Netflix.
On the Netflix.
Oh, and this has
Yes.
caused a bit of friction between the two of you
No,
because.
I got to go out and see her in Budapest. It was a lovely time.
We went to the Bahamas.
But that's going
We
to grate
had-
after a while.
We had a pandemic. I had a baby. Then when the pandemic finished, Anna did that. So we didn't do Egg for a very long time.
Mhm.
We always have a lot of strings to our bow. I think a lot of actors
There's
have
a
to have.
lot
We're
of
writers,
juggling,
we're
yeah.
podcasters
Juggling.
and jugglers. And
She
and
did say. She said juggling.
she did
Yeah.
say that. Did you say that?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm, should've
We're
said it
plate
louder.
spinners.
It's probably.
Diablo.
Oh, I hate the Diablo. God,
It's very difficult,
insane.
isn't it?
Poi.
Very difficult to do.
Real got strong opinions on Poi. But no friction, only support, actually.
Shadow and.
Always trying to pit women against each other, you see? It's just ingrained
Yeah.
in us.
And never men. I've never done that to 2
No,
men.
never.
Never.
You never had 2 people on
ever,
your show
ever.
before.
That's true.
I haven't had
Yeah.
2 people
No,
on my
the
show. No.
blueprint.
With a
When it's just
blueprint.
single guys, I like to pit them against themselves.
Yeah.
In there, yeah? In there,
You're
yeah?
very good, aren't
Yeah.
you?
Get in there. What do you want together?
We've
World domination.
we've done a lot of writing together.
I'd love to write something with Anna that is commissioned for TV and is very successful.
Yeah, why don't we just do that? Should we
Well,
just do that?
that's a
Should we
pretty
just do that?
it's a pretty
You should do
generic
Live at the
ambition to
Apollo.
end on, isn't it?
Well, I would. I'd really like that. We've been on TV together. We've done live shows together.
But that
We're
must
doing a
be in
lovely
the offing,
podcast
though.
together.
I would have thought
It's
that's
you know
exactly
how it is.
what
It
you're
just
doing.
kind of it's sort of slithers around from this place to that place, and will it get made? And
Yeah.
maybe we'll tweak it and write this, and
Yeah.
so it's just a waiting game. But we love writing together,
We love
and then
performing
hopefully
together.
this show's gonna.
You're very simpatico, aren't you?
Always
Yes.
simpatico.
That comes across.
Mm.
The simpatico has been hard earned, I think, because when we first started working together and writing together, we would get to loggerheads. Like,
Oh, yeah.
we had
Would
to
you?
work on our relationship.
What, really?
Yeah.
We've worked so much on our relationship and friendship because we see each other all the time and we're trying to maintain a friendship and creatively work together with different brains. We've done so much work on our relationship that we probably should be doing with our romantic
With our
relationships
romantic
too.
partners.
But I do think it's harder to find a perfect writing partner and double act. It's harder to find that than it is to find.
Well,
Sorry, John.
the last show that we did, the show that we just took to Edinburgh Fringe, and check us out, eggcomedy.com.
Can I come and see you at the Soho
Please
Theatre
do,
if
please
you're
do.
there?
We'll pop your
We'd like
ticket
that.
aside.
Is that a free ticket, or is that when I get to the box office will I be expected to pay?
You actually pay double.
I think because you
Rob.
can afford more, you
You
probably
know,
should pay.
Will I have
more.
2
Some of
seats if
that
I'm paying double, or
sweet,
just
sweet
double for the
P&O
one?
money.
Oh,
we can-
this is the life. Day 4, Montenegro. We stroll the streets, and then a Campari and soda.
It's
You
gonna
may
be hard
pass
to do the
wind,
show when
it's
he's doing it.
perfectly
It's
normal.
I think we're going to struggle to find a better out point for this podcast than the one that my 2 delightful young guests have just provided. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.